Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. Before I get to our guests here today, I'd like to remind everyone to please give a like and subscribe down below if you enjoy this content. We greatly appreciate it. We have Megan Yelaney on the podcast with us. She's a life and business coach, and we thought it would just really be interesting because people have so many stereotypes about life coaches. I know we've had another life coach on our podcast, but just to, get the inside story of what they really do and sort of break down that, these people are really trying to help you out. But most importantly, Megan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. So you started off sort of getting into the health and fitness route. That's how you started out with your Instagram. What was the motivation between you for really making that change and adapting that more healthy and fit lifestyle?
Yeah, so I got started with health and fitness back in college and not in the healthy way, like a lot of people do in college. I went to school and all of a sudden had all this freedom. And so I started to, eat what I wanted, drink what I wanted, and to maintain the weight that I was and to avoid that freshman 15 that I was terrified of getting. I did quite extremes, I would say, when it comes to eating. During the week, I'd eat about 1,000 to 1,200 calories and run like 6 miles a day. And I hated running. And then the weekend would come and it was like a free for all. I would eat and drink everything in sight and then start over again on Monday. And it was this just like constant back and forth battle for a while. Did not have a great relationship with food. Only really considered exercise as a way to like almost punish what I did the day before. And I just really was sick and tired of feeling that way. And so when I graduated college and I started to get healthier habits near the end, but when I graduated, I started to do P90X in my house. And that changed the game for me because I hated the gym. I didn't like going to the gym purely because I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't afford a trainer and just was lazy and didn't look up how to do anything. So I liked having someone tell me what to do in the privacy of my own home. And I got into the best shape of my life. I had lost weight that I had gained before. I'd gained muscle. Like I just felt incredible and I felt empowered and I was eating more than I was ever eating before, which I know a lot of people who are listening probably understand that by now, but at the time it was like foreign to me to eat more to lose weight. And I just repaired a lot of my relationship with food and just felt really, really good and confident in my body. And that started everything. I felt so good that I started helping other people who were asking me like, how did you make these changes? All of that. And I was doing it for free because I didn't know that there was a coaching opportunity. And so I started just doing that, ended up joining as a coach and doing that full time in 2014. I started to become a full-time coach and was able to quit all of my jobs and things like that, which was great. And then this last year, it took a while though.
Yeah. That's one thing I've realized. Yep.
Yeah, it takes a while. It took about I'd say a good 1.5 to 2 years of serious work. Not like at the beginning when I started coaching, I said I was coaching. I really wasn't. I was like doing it when it was convenient, And when I really started to just put like the pedal to the metal, like a 1.5 years later, I was able to quit those jobs and do that full time. Built that business up to 6 figures, loved it. My husband was able to pursue his entrepreneur journey. Now we're both traveling. And then last year I decided like I love the company, but I wanted to start doing my own things. I had a lot of people ask me if they could work with me in a different capacity. And that's when I started to look into life coaching school and things like that. And I had so much more knowledge than just what I could offer through that coaching. I had coaches, I had courses I took, all this stuff, and I could only give them what that company was providing. Right. And again, I absolutely love the company to this day, use it all the time. But I knew I wanted to do my own thing. And running your business is way harder than running a network marketing business. I've realized it's a lot goes into it. You have to create your own product, but it's been absolutely incredible this past 1.5 years. I went first to health and fitness coaching. I joined Amanda Bucci's Influencer Academy, and that was incredible. Now I'm the head coach for her program. So it's kind of come full circle where I'm now coaching the girls who go through that and the guys who go through that. And then I switched from health and fitness to life and business this year fully. I had been business coaching since I was with Beachbody because that's what it is. It's really, if you're building a successful business with that, you are business coaching. But I went to life coaching school and everything changed. I loved it. I just realized all of the physical differences I made in my life and in my clients' lives were with life coaching techniques. I just didn't realize it until I actually went and got more of my skills honed in. And I just kind of went cold turkey. I said, I'm not taking any more health and fitness clients. I'm just doing business and life coaching. And it was the best shift. Like everyone came on board and I just feel very grateful. I have a fully booked business and life coaching practice now. And I love it. But it all started with health and fitness. So long story.
No, that's awesome. Oh, believe me, we had the record. One lady, I asked the first question and 28 minutes later, I got to ask the next one. So believe me, yours is very, yours is on the short end of these, but yeah, it's such a great and inspiring story. And one of the things that I always like to point out, especially with the weight training, is that it can also help you with confidence so much. Having that bare body, it really helps you with confidence. And being a life coach, you're very person to person. You have to be very engaged with people. You have to be, very, very, you kind of have to be good, happy with yourself. You have to be good with, throwing yourself out there. Do you think that weight training really, really helped you and inspired you to get into sort of that coaching business just because it adds a lot of confidence and you're more willing to sort of go out of your way in helping people?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%. I honestly like that's what I love about health and fitness. And I think that's where a lot of health and fitness coaches lose people too, is they only focus on like, you'll lose weight, you'll lose fat, you'll feel good in your bikini or whatever it is. That's great. But why do they even care to feel good in their body? They want to be confident. And when you're confident in your body because of like, you can lift things up and put them down and you're strong, you start to get out of toxic relationships. You start to put yourself out there. You start to ask for raises at your jobs. Like I've had clients who literally increased their income that are health and fitness clients, like increased their income, gotten out of relationships, moved to places they wanted to move because they finally got the confidence. Like changing your body is so much more than physical. And I just love that you said that. It's so true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So when you said life coach, I mean, a lot of people probably listening out there think about different things about life coaches. Some people just think, oh, they just basically just tell you how to live your life and it's kind of, they just boss people around or whatever. And there are a lot of misconceptions, but what would you say is probably the biggest misconception you get when people hear life coach?
I think the biggest misconception is kind of what you just said is people think you need a lot of life experience to be a good life coach. That's the biggest thing I hear. And I have a business client who's 21 and she's a fabulous life coach. And most people will be like, how can you be a life coach? You've not done enough life, right? And if anyone who says that, just I used to say that honestly, so I get it. They just don't know what life coaching is. And when I went to school this year, I went to CTI, Coactive Training Institute. It's amazing if anyone wants to become a life coach. And I went through the first 3-day intensive, and that's one of the first things they said was your job is not to give advice because of your experience. That is not what life coaching is. And that's where a lot of people call themselves life coaches, and they do that. And like, that's fine. Like, I'm not saying helping people through your life experiences is so useful, like, especially with health and fitness coaching. But life coaching specifically is about you. It's about asking people really simple, powerful questions that make them think so much more deeply than they would if like you just told them what to do. And it makes them make their decisions. That's the power of life coaching. Is it's not about you telling someone what to do. It's about you asking them questions so then they tell themselves what to do. When it's your decision to change, you will change way more than if someone tells you to change. So that's what I love about this kind of coaching. I had a life coach, and that's why I was like, this is what I want to do, because he asked me such powerful questions that made me go, oh, okay. And like, I always be like, just tell me what to do. I just want to know what to do. And he's like, no, I'm not going to tell you what to do because you're not going to do it. And when I actually made that decision, that's the reason I started to go to life coaching school. I started to do business coaching. I branched out from my network marketing company, all because of this coaching. And I think the biggest mistake a lot of life coaches make when they market themselves is they're too vague. They like want to help everyone just with their life. So, like any coach, you have to like niche down and who are you specifically helping? But yeah, so that's the biggest misconception is that you have to have a lot of life experience to be a good life coach. It's just not true.
100%. I hear that. I mean, the one guy that we had on was from the UK and he was about like 26, 27. And it's just life experience is one of those things. You can be a great advice giver and you can have really good tips without having that experience. It's just about going with your gut, and life coaching is just one of those things where it helps out so many people. Like it helps people, like you said, get that inspiration to ask for that raise, move, and get their job. It's really, really outstanding. But one of the things that I found out, I mean, I have a full-time job myself other than doing this podcast, but when I started doing this podcast, you're going to be around like the 150th guest. So one thing that I've realized is that, early on, like I always thought, like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome. It's just going to, take off. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, a lot of networking, a lot of, who do you know, and then connections. How difficult was that for you? Because like you said, it took you like 1.5 to 2 years before you were able to just do it just as your regular job. How difficult? And everyone has those times where they're like, is this even worth it? Like, is all this work really worth it if I'm not seeing results quickly? Especially with our generation where everything is, I want it now, I want it yesterday. And it's just, everything is now. What are some tips that you use specifically when it came to just when you had those moments just saying like, yes, this is worth it. Let's just keep up with it and something's going to pick up eventually.
Yeah. I think kind of how you're starting is I always say to people, you have to want to do it for free before you want to get paid. And like, you have to just love it.
Yes.
If you don't, and it just feels like a chore, you're going to hate it. Look, work is work. And I love what I do, but there are still days that I'm like, oh, I'm just tired. I want to just like binge watch a Netflix show all day and do nothing. And I could, if I wanted to, I can't because I have paying clients and calls all day, but like I could, say screw it. And so you have to love what you do so much that even on those days you just don't want to do it. you will do it, even if you're not getting paid yet. And I did not get paid a lot when I first started. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was minimal, or nothing for a while. And I think so many people think, oh, I'm going to put my coaching out there or whatever service, and people are going to flock to me. And that'd be great if that happened. But
Yes.
especially now that there's a lot more coaches, it's not saturated at all. Like when I hear that, I'm like, nope, not at all. It's just about finding your voice and
Mm-hmm.
being, that individual. But you have to stick it out. But that's the number one thing, is you have to love it so much that you would do it for free. And that's why I think like you're going to have successes, because you're already doing this for free because you love it. I had success with my network marketing company. I literally was doing it for free. I didn't know you could even get paid to do it. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, well, I'm already doing this. Cool. Like, might as well get paid. So you have to be passionate about it. And then you have to also set realistic timelines. I hear people say a lot, like, I want to quit my job in like a couple months. And if you can, and you have like maybe a significant other helping out or parents helping out or something, that's great, especially if you're in a job that's like soul sucking. I wasn't in the position where I could totally quit my jobs. I had to pay for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I did have some help. I lived with my mom for a little bit while I was building this up, so that helped a lot. But I wanted to replace my income before I just totally said goodbye to
Mm-hmm.
those jobs. So that's a personal opinion. Some people say just quit and you'll work harder. I've seen both, but I know my personality, it would put so much stress, and I would
Yeah.
I would not have fun at all with my job, with
Mm-hmm.
my job, right? It would have just been like, oh my God, I have to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And when it just goes from that, then you feel desperate, you sound desperate.
Yes.
People look at you like you're desperate, and it's like, I don't want to be that icky salesperson. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not why I'm here. So I think try to stick it out with something. Maybe you don't love your job. Like I was doing cocktailing and I didn't love it. I wasn't want to do it forever, but I liked who I worked with. I could tolerate it for a while, and I did it till I had to. And I found like I was talking to girls in the academy that I coach, and I was saying like, well, I know while you're frustrated where you are right now, be the best cocktail waitress you could be. Be the best whatever you can be. Barista at Starbucks, I don't care what you do, like do it with pride and try to really be the best you can. And I remember, I don't know if you know Will Grazione.
Oh,
He's
yep.
an incredible coach. He's a co-coach with me in Influencer or Flourish and Conquer Accelerator. They changed the name. And he told this story about how he was a janitor for years before he became a full-time coach. And he was the best damn janitor he could be. And that just made me like smile so much, because I so agree. Like just because we don't love our jobs doesn't mean we have to like treat it like crap,
Mm-hmm.
like be the best person you can in whatever job you're doing. That will show. And he created relationships as a janitor that benefited him later on. You never know who's going to be around. Some of my first health and fitness customers were customers at my bar that I
Mm-hmm.
was serving them at. So
Oh,
you just never ever know. So those are like a few little tips I would.
100% agree with you. I mean, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy it for free. And it's one of those things where I do find it so much easier when you're just asking, when you're not making money out of it. It's just easier to just ask people like, hey, you want to be on this podcast? Like, I'll give you my info or whatever you want to come on. As opposed to if it was money, I'd be like, oh, please be on my podcast. I need guests or whatever. So it makes it so much easier. And just like you said, making those connections. And it's all, like you said, it's always weird how just that one connection can change it. Because I had one guest who I'm not going to name names because I don't want them to be offended. But when they came on, I was just like, I don't know. I mean, it seems like, I mean, I'll do it anyway. And then this person turned out to have connections upon connections. Like this person, he or she was an Uber driver, and they had a person in the car that then they hooked me up with, who is a publisher who got me all these authors. So I mean, it's just take as much as you can get, especially when you're starting out, because you never know, that one person could end up being the person that really, really helps you out. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
another huge thing, advice wise. And you said like going from a job where you are not really like the head of it, you're just a cocktail wait, you're doing cocktails. How difficult was that for you to making that adjustment though, to being a job where all of your income depends directly on you? I mean, as a cocktail waitress, it does, but you know what I mean? Like as your own business, like you're responsible for
Yeah.
growth, you're responsible for everything. How difficult was that adjustment for you?
It was hard, but it was honestly, I prepared myself. I think because it took a year and a half of, and it really took more than that. It took like 4 years of like kind of doing it, kind of not. I really was prepared for it mentally. I was like, okay, I always said to myself, I can always go back. Like I can always find a job. I still to this day, if all of my clients went away, if every course I had disappeared, like I would figure it out. And I know because my husband and I both are entrepreneurs. So we both have quote unquote risky jobs. I also have family members, and he's had family members who've had quote unquote really secure jobs and have lost them out of nowhere.
Yep.
And so I think to myself, there's nothing secure anymore. And I always know like we're going to figure it out, because we always have. Like even with my network marketing company, one of the reasons I did start to seek out different things is I saw it going a different direction and my income going down significantly. And that was kind of scary when I was like, this
Mhm.
is all of my eggs are in one basket right now. I have no control over anything with this.
Mhm.
And that's when I started to say, you know what, I'm going to try to figure something else out. And I was able to build an even more successful business on my own doing something else. So
Mhm.
I was like, all right, I did that last year. I know I could do that next year if I needed to. So I think just knowing you can always go back to something else, you can always figure it out. And that's what's the beauty of online is you pivot. I pivoted from that company to my own health and fitness, then to life, then to business. Who knows what we're going to do next year?
Yeah.
Like you just never know. So I hope that kind of answered it.
Oh,
But
yeah, 100%. Like I always like to say, it can be very hard for people, especially when you're in that one job, but then you realize, like, hey, I really want to do this passion and I think I can. That's still, even if you're making a lot of money, that still is a huge, huge choice to make, just going from that and doing that. And it takes a lot because you, like you said, you are putting all of your eggs in one basket. And it's like, you're going all in on one thing as opposed to a lot of people who might have like, multiple jobs or offers where they could just be like, yeah, I could go do this, I could go do that. I mean, it really does take a lot of courage, just put all of that in one basket. But the internet, like I always like to say, and trends are always ever evolving. And being that you work a lot on the internet as a life and business coach, what are some ways that you use in order to keep up with all these different trends? Because I like to say almost every month something is different when it comes to your clients. Are there any really tips or any tricks that you use in order to kind of anticipate what might be coming next in order to make good on it?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is to see, like, really pay attention to the people that you like who have the kind of business you want to have,
Mhm.
honestly, and see what they're doing. See, like, where they're shifting. Are they starting to hang out on a different social media more than others? Are they starting to, post differently or switch a little bit? And I'm not saying copy them, but take inspiration from them for sure. I think that's the best way to build a business that you're from the ground up is like see what other people are successful people are already doing and then make it your own in some way and see where they shifting. Also just be up on trends. Like there's a couple different websites. I'm trying to think of one right now. I think it's like social. Oh, I have to remember. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll get it to you though if you could put
Yeah.
it in the show notes. But it's like it's keeping up on industry trends and social media trends and things like that. And just knowing anytime there's a new social media, it's kind of twofold. One, you want to try to get in as soon as possible to be like a starter and be in it right away. But two, don't overwhelm yourself. Like there's so many things out there that you could do, and if you try to do, and I did this when I first started my business, I tried to be on every platform,
Mhm.
and I just was like half-assing every platform instead of being fully on one. So I really encourage you to just master a few,
Yeah.
whether that's like Instagram and Facebook first, right? And I did that, and then I was like, I want to dominate Pinterest, and Pinterest became huge. I love Pinterest, and it's like a really secretly hidden great platform to use actually. But I didn't do that until I was felt really good on the other two. So it's see what your capacity is. If you're like, I'm ready and I have the energy to go all in on this new thing, go for it. Be an early adapter. That's great. But if you're overwhelmed, like just know being really good at one thing is way better than having your hand in a million baskets and being like kind of good at all of them. So yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I absolutely couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's such great advice. But one of the things that I think is really, troubling with our generation too is we're always addicted to technology. A lot of people say, "Now your job is technology." Are there any ways that you sort of like to get away from it and just, take a break, take a deep breath? What are some tips that you use or tricks? Because like you said, if your job is the internet and technology, you're going to be on it a lot, but you do
Mhm.
need some time just to be away from it all and just to relax and enjoy. How important is it to you that you set that time frame where you're just like, okay, for these next couple of hours, I'm just going to relax?
hmm Oh, it's so important. I so did not do that when I first started either. Oh my gosh, working like I mean, you're doing that right now, but
Mhm.
working like nonstop, like 14-hour days, I swear.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it wasn't worth it. What it was worth it, but I looking back, I know I could have still succeeded without doing that. I know I could have because at a certain point, your energy, you're just not going to put out good content. Like personally, I think one of the biggest things is you need to know when is your most creative time of day? When are you most on, especially if you're a content creator? So for me, mornings is it. So even this morning, I was writing at 6:30 a.m. till like
Wow.
my first call at 9. And that was I got so much great work done though, more in those 2 hours than if I tried to sit down at like say tonight at 5 after my calls
Mhm.
and like sit down and work, I would get nothing done or I'd get maybe like a third of it done because my brain is just fried at the end of the day. I'm just like done, capped out, not creative. So you might be though. I have clients who are creative at night. That's when they're the most creative. So
Yep.
just know when your creative zone of genius is and schedule that most creative work around that time. And then make sure you're scheduling in pockets of time to actually get up off of your chair. I just went for an hour walk
Mhm.
while I was on a call with a client. The whole walk, the whole time on our call, I was walking and like just being outside. Like I'm in Las Vegas right now, so I can be outside. I'm not back home in New York
Mhm.
where it's freezing. So
Yeah.
I know where you are, it's cold. So
Oh
bundle up if
God.
you have to.
Yes.
But if you can get outside, that's ideal.
Hmm.
But at least try to get up and walk around the house and just set like specific times of day that you're like, I'm going to take a 20-minute break, get up without my phone. Or maybe you're just playing a podcast, right? But you're not like looking at the screen. You're not staring at the screen the whole time. So those are a couple things I make sure I do every day is walk for a little bit. And I'm not perfect with it. This week has been nonstop. And today I was like, I need to do this because I'm feeling burnt out. And then also I really try to set strict rules with my phone at night and in the morning. So I don't look at my messages, my texts, social media until after my morning routine.
Hmm.
I have my own phone on airplane mode at night, usually around 9 p.m. I turn it on airplane mode. My husband and I usually watch a TV show. I go to sleep. I wake up. I do my morning routine. I don't look at it until after my morning routine. I usually Instagram story my routine, but I don't look at messages. And I have good willpower now, so I don't look at the messages. But I find that like just starting my day, filling my cup up, getting in some personal development, and then ending the day, turning that off. I do watch TV at night. I know some entrepreneurs are like, never watch
Yeah.
TV. I like watching TV at night and unplugging a little bit. An hour a day, I don't think will kill you. And that's really how we wind down. And I just don't have my phone near me. I actually have it across the room plugged in so that I physically have to get out of bed to turn my alarm off, which helps me get up
Oh,
too.
absolutely. I mean, I'm the complete opposite just because of my work schedule. Like, I got home at 3 a.m. this morning. I got done. So, but yeah, I mean, I completely agree. You got to find what's most creative and productive for you. And like you said before, your job allows you to travel. What is the favorite place that you've been to so far?
I'd say my favorite place I've been to, well, San Diego is my favorite city, but I did go to college there. So that's one of the reasons too. But it's just the most gorgeous place. I love San Diego. But out of after we got married, we actually did a cross country road trip. And my favorite, I think, was Austin and New Orleans.
Oh,
I
wow.
loved those two cities so much. Just really fun cities, really cool people, really so much culture, like just so much history there.
Mhm.
So those two were probably my favorite cities that we stopped in.
That is so awesome. And you mentioned before that you have a husband, and I always like to ask all of our guests that have on our show three little fun questions. So, where did you and your husband meet? How did
We
you meet?
actually
Yeah.
we actually met in high school,
Ah.
but we weren't high school sweethearts at all. We didn't even talk in high school. We met in high school. He's a year older, and then went our separate ways. We never talked,
Mhm.
and met again 10 years later. We met when I was 25, so
Wow.
not 10, but like 8 years later, at a bar after a New York Giants game celebrating. And I was like, I know you, and so that was it.
That's
Started
awesome.
dating.
So where did you guys go for your first date?
Our first date, he took me to a restaurant called Prime in Huntington on the water on Long Island. And it's like a gorgeous steakhouse. He did good. It was a gorgeous steakhouse during the summer on the water. So it was really, really impressive.
That's awesome. So we'd love to hear proposal stories as well. How did he propose?
He proposed in actually in our apartment. It was really, really sweet, but it was very like just me and him. It was really intimate. We went to brunch before, came home, and in the bedroom there was like a teddy bear and a card. And I was reading the card. I turned around, and he was on his knee, which was amazing. He had my mom waiting outside because I don't love like big flashy things. Like I wanted it to be intimate. I think he knew that. I just wanted it to be me and him. But then he had my mom waiting outside. She came in, and then we went to his dad's house. All our family lives really close except for my dad, who's in Vegas where we are now. And he'd flown my best friend in from California, and all of my other best friends were there. So even though it was intimate, it was like a huge engagement party right after at his dad's house. And it was like all of my favorite people there. So it was pretty special. It was really cool.
That's unbelievable. I mean, we
Yeah.
always love to hear those stories. But now you mentioned before, I mean, you're in New York, which can be very, very cold. A lot of things that people don't really like to talk about is seasonal depression disorder that can happen when it gets really, really cold outside. And being a life coach, I mean, I bet you probably have clients that live in the colder climates. What are some ways that you really help your clients still achieve their goals? Because like I said, when it's cold outside, especially in Minnesota, you're wearing a sweater, 9 months out of the year, and it's just your motivation can go down, especially because it gets dark so early. What are some ways that you sort of help your clients still, get on track and still help out with their progress, even though like their body is just telling them, like you said, sort of just staying in Netflix and chill all day, basically, because it's so
Yeah.
cold?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think if any amount of sunlight you can get, even if it's just like it's cold outside, but you can open the windows and there's some natural sunlight, like anything like that. I know there are some, I don't have this, but I know there are some lights you can even get for your
Yep.
house that make you feel like there's sun.
Mhm.
Because I totally get that. It's one reason my husband and I are traveling on the West Coast during the winters. We're like, let's get out of the
Yeah.
cold while we can.
Yeah.
We don't have kids yet. So I think as long as you can have some kind of light coming in, and even though it's cold, if it's absolutely freezing, I understand you can't go outside.
Mhm.
But if you can, I do this in the winter. I bundle up, and even if it's 10 minutes, just being in fresh air, even if it's cold air, just makes you
Mhm.
feel better, like getting outside in some capacity, if that's possible. Obviously,
Yeah.
if it's like 10 degrees, you can, I get it. But I
That's
think
like that's like the average day in Minnesota in
that's
January and February and December.
you're like, so no, we don't do that
Yeah.
there. So I think, that, but also having maybe like a morning routine
Mhm.
that really, really helps is having something every morning you can do, whether that's like a warm cup of coffee while you're doing your reading or your meditation or you're stretching. And I personally work out at home, so I
Mhm.
never have to be motivated to the gym.
Mhm.
I just work out at home. So if you find have trouble going to the gym, and maybe a couple days you do a workout at home and you have like some kind of routine, I never really miss one because I can't use that excuse because I work out at home all the time. So
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm still at home for like the next 3 months with my parents because I'm gonna either transfer from UPS to a different site, but I'll still be like a couple, a few cities away. But yeah, and we have a gym at home, so I really, really enjoy that. But like, yeah, you said when it gets 10 degrees, I was like, yeah, in January, I mean, I've had temperatures where it's been like -30 outside where I live, and that's the point where, you can take a cup of water and you throw it in the air and it vaporizes before it touches the ground because it gets so
it's
cold.
crazy.
Or
Yeah.
one time I used a banana to hammer a nail into a piece of wood because it got hard enough from being outside.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah.
insane.
So yeah, and what you said about the lights is actually really interesting because when I had my sleep specialist on from the UK, first of all, he had one of those accents, the best accent ever, where you felt like you gained like 10 IQ points just from talking to him, just because
Yeah,
he had
I
the
love
most
that.
posh, just like he knew everything, and I was like, okay, I just felt smarter. But some people like in places like Norway where they have like the midnight sun where it goes. You have 1 hour of sunlight the whole day. They do put those lights in the house that make it feel like it's light outside so that they don't get depressed because there's a high rate of suicide in those places because people just get so down that they're living there, and a lot of it's just for jobs that like fishing that you work multiple hours. But enough
Mhm.
of that. Now we get on to
Mhm.
our favorite part of the podcast, my personal favorite and the audience personal favorite, a little questionnaire where we're going to ask Megan here about a dozen or so questions and see how she stacks up to all the other guests that we've had on our show.
Ooh,
So
okay.
for our first question, what is your go-to workout song at the moment?
Ooh, I love this. The Greatest Showman
Ooh.
all the time is
Yeah.
my favorite thing to listen to, especially while working out.
Mhm.
But lately, I saw Bohemian Rhapsody, so I've been listening to Queen while working out.
My brother saw that movie 5 times in theaters. It's his record, but yeah,
So good.
I'm waiting till it comes out because I'm one of those people where it's like nowadays with technology, if it's like Star Wars or a really really huge movie, then I'll go out and see it. But others, it's like yeah, I'll just wait 2 months and then wait till
Yeah.
it comes out, and I can watch it, or I can just watch it for free on. I mean, I'm not endorsing watching movies for free on the internet, but I do that every once in a while. But yes, I sometimes dabble in that. And this is not a confession. I'm just saying hypothetically I do that. But anyway, now going back, if you could be the life coach for any celebrity, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. I've actually been really obsessed with Dak Shepard's
Oh, yep.
podcast. I don't know if you've listened to it,
Yep.
Armchair Expert. So I would say him or his co-host Monica Padman. I
Yep.
love them. I just like would want to talk to them all day.
Oh, yeah, and he's married to Kristen Bell too, so
And he's
that's
married to
also a
Kristen
positive.
Bell. I'm just
Yeah.
so obsessed with them all. I
Yeah.
love
Oh,
them.
yeah. That's totally awesome. So now, what is one thing that people who follow you on Instagram would be surprised to know about you if they met you in person?
Hmm, that's a good question. I'm pretty open and honest on Instagram, so I don't hide that much.
Mhm.
Oh, that's tough. I literally share everything there. I would say
Mhm.
that I wear yoga pants and don't do my makeup 6 days a week, but I share this on
Yeah.
Instagram all the time.
Well, I think that's what's so great too is that
I
because you
don't
do
even
share
know.
everything. Yeah. So we'll say that she overshares then.
I
That's the one thing.
overshare my life.
That's yeah, you
Yeah.
overshare. But that's a good thing too because it makes like one of the reasons why I love having especially Instagram people on this podcast is because a lot of times they don't, and I like to hear their life stories because a lot of people just see like the flashy posts that they make about like their
Yeah.
workouts or look at all this stuff that I have or stuff like that. Where it's just like I like to hear their stories deep down because a lot of people don't look past that and they don't see that there's an
Mhm.
actual human being deep down. So that's why I love
Yeah.
having stories. But I mean, you're the person you share a lot, and that honestly that can be a tough thing to do to share everything. So I
Yeah.
mean, I really appreciate that because it really helps break that stereotype of you kind of got to be bottled up for your Instagram stuff, and it's just
No.
like for business. No, you got to be open. You got to open up to people, and that also helps attract people to you because if they see like
Yeah.
this girl is like opening up and she's saying everything, then it really
Yeah.
helps with people just being able to connect with you. I mean, I couldn't
Definitely.
agree with that more. But now, what is
Right.
one thing that you would change about the life coach and business coach business if you had the all knowing power to do so?
Oh gosh, these are such good questions. I think I would change. I would change the. It's funny because I'm not a big like. I think if you have gone through a an experience, you've had a transformation, you have skills, you're 3 steps ahead of someone. You're qualified to help them. I do
Mhm.
believe that. However, there are certain types of coaching that I think people need to have some skill sets for.
Mhm.
And I called myself a life coach before I went to life coaching school. Full disclosure.
Yep.
And then I went and I was like, oh wow, like I am doing it very differently than I should be, you know?
Right.
And I still was helping people tremendously, but when I started to use the skills, like, so I feel like I almost would want to make it such a common precedence. Like, you have to at least go through to the first class. You learn so much from that first class. That's like honestly all you need as far as getting the skills. The rest is just like certification. So I would almost make it like such a requirement that people would automatically go get this certificate or get the first class at least under their belt.
100%. I mean, that's the thing, especially with the health and fitness guests that we have on too, that they're like, these people say that they're personal trainers, but they haven't even, they've maybe competed in one show, but they've never even taken the class. So it's like, make sure that the person knows their stuff before you go and talk to them. Because I mean, life coaching. I mean, and you can be a great life coach without going to life coaching. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
Hmm.
I've seen some people where it's like, yes, they know what they're talking about. They're just naturally born with that ability to just help out others and know. But like I said, the more you know, also the better it helps out your clients. So that's just one of the biggest things too. I mean, that was a great answer for what's one thing that you would change is that a lot of people. I mean, getting that certification at least helps people that you put the work in and that you're actually like trying at your job as opposed to just saying like, hey, I'm like, I could just do right now and just say like, hey, I'm a life coach, come and get some life advice from
Yeah.
me, which is is something that I really think, I mean, it is getting better, I do think, but it is something that really needs to be brought up as well. But now if you could go back in time and talk to the 18-year-old version of yourself, what would be the best piece of advice you would give her?
Ooh, you can eat more food. Honestly, like specifically my 18-year-old self when I went to college, like that was the struggle. That was when health and fitness was at a I don't even want to say health and fitness because it wasn't healthy.
Mhm.
But the obsession, like I could only eat a certain amount. And I know a lot of girls specifically who went through this where 1,200 calories was like the magic number for so many
Mm-hmm.
people. No matter what size you were, it's just so funny to me now. So yeah, you could eat more food and don't take things too seriously because while I loved college, I'm not really using anything I learned in college right now. So
Me
like
neither, me neither.
enjoy it, but don't stress about it. Like have
Mm-hmm.
fun. And I did. I had a blast, but I was so serious with school and like I would stress out about classes and tests and all
Mm-hmm.
that. So
I'm gonna be completely honest to everyone. You pay way too much money for just a piece of paper. That's about it.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but the memories are great and enjoy. But yeah, I
Mhm.
completely agree with that. So now, what was the last TV show that you binge watched?
I'm currently binge watching New Girl actually with my husband. We've watched it before, but I was just like I don't know why lately we've been into rewatching old
Mhm.
comedies and I forgot how good it was and so we can't stop watching it. We just are addicted.
That like my older brother about 3 years ago introduced me to it, and I thought like I was like, oh, that's just a girly show. Why are you watching that? And he's like, no, it's actually really good. So then I started watching. I was like, oh my god, this is
We're
great. I mean,
obsessed.
Schmidt is one of my favorite characters of any TV
Yeah.
show, and I have so many friends of mine who are they're teachers and they act just like Jess. So like when I watch them, I'm like, God, it's just like watching an episode of New Girl because they have like the
That's
same
so
Jess
funny.
personality. Where I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So yeah, that is a great show. But now, what is your favorite TV show of all time?
It's that one's up there, but again, I'm a huge comedy
Mhm.
junkie. I think it's kind of a tie between Parks and Recreation and 30 Rock.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love those two. And then we're gonna switch it around. I love This Is Us right now
Oh,
too.
that's what
So
I have never seen an episode of it, but everyone I have on here is just praising
so
it and saying
good.
it's so I definitely got to get on it. But I was
You're
surprised
gonna
part
cry. Just be
oh,
ready. A
yeah.
lot of tears. No matter
Yeah.
you're a boy or girl, I don't care. You're gonna cry.
I might just wear sunglasses then when I watch it.
There you
So, yeah.
go.
So, yeah, absolutely. So now, what is your guilty pleasure movie that you enjoy? What is the movie that if you really are just feeling down and low, what is your go-to movie?
Ooh, they're good. Movies are harder for me. I'm
Mhm.
such a TV show person. Like I'd rather just binge watch a TV show, but movie wise, I love it's just like funny. I love the Breakfast Club. I watch that. It's just kind of corny, I guess, but the Breakfast Club and because we're around Christmas time, I love Nightmare Before Christmas and I've watched it not at Christmas time.
Mhm. Yeah.
Again, like just a very random movie, but I'd say those two, Breakfast Club definitely is probably my all-time
You
go-to.
brought it up, so now this is gonna be the first time, everyone, that I'm gonna announce this. But for the last 3 months, ever since I started, one of my guests that I've always wanted to have on is Emilio Estevez, and I've been talking
Yeah.
with him, and he is coming on in about, I think it's a month, I'd say. It's in early January, like January 2nd or 3rd. I'm gonna have to double check because I usually don't check my schedule that far away. But yes, he is coming on, and yeah, I'm excited because
That's amazing.
Mighty Ducks, it was set in Minnesota, and it's right around where I live, so that's just a huge thing. But yeah, I'm gonna talk to him about everything. I'll definitely send you the link for that one because that's gonna be
Yes.
great. And just talk. I want to talk about The Breakfast Club too because yeah, it is one of my favorite movies. I mean, it's just for high school movies, that is the go-to high school movie if you're gonna watch like a
Yeah.
teenage movie, even though the actors playing them were like in their mid-20s.
I
I
know.
mean, that's the thing that I hate about those teen movies is that the actors are like in their early 30s or late 20s, and they're like trying to play like
Yeah.
18. It's like me. I'm 24, so it's like I'd be young to play some of those roles where it's like
Yeah.
come on, people. Yeah,
It's crazy.
100%. But now, what is one item that you always need to have in your fridge?
Always need to have in my fridge egg whites.
Yes.
Always.
We hear that all. Egg whites and chicken.
It sounds like such a fitness answer,
Well, no,
but
egg
it's
whites and chicken are by far our most popular answer. But one of the things that I was surprised, especially with the Bibos that we have on, is mustard because it's 0 calories, it's 0 fat. So that's what they
oh
put on as
yeah.
flavoring for their chicken because they can't really do anything else. Because if you're eating bland chicken all the time, but I always do tell them, I was like, if you have to put mustard on your stuff to make it taste better because you're eating stuff that's so bland, you might want to reevaluate your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
That's
yeah,
funny.
100%. So what is the future looking like? So last question to the question. So what is the future looking like for you? What is your goal for maybe a year from now? Do you have any specific goals that you would like to accomplish?
Yeah, a year from now, I would love to have just business wise, I'd love to have more passive programs to impact more people because I can only take so many private clients and energy wise, my husband and I would like to have a kid in the next year. So when I get pregnant, have a child, and I know once I have a kid, I'm not going to have as much time.
Yeah.
So I'd really want to create some incredible programs for just my community and everyone, both for life and business clients. Have a kid and just keep flourishing in this industry. I just absolutely love it. We want to definitely start to settle down and stop traveling a little bit. I love traveling, but have one place where we're living. It can get a little tiring, and I love it, but definitely have this is where we are for a bit and just settle down a little bit. So yeah, I'm
Absolutely. Have you
excited.
thought of any names if it's a boy or a girl?
I have. I mean, no, he likes them too.
Yeah.
I like the name. I'm not pregnant yet. I want
Oh,
to
well,
be,
yeah,
but
yeah, well, yeah.
we're working on it. But I
Yeah.
like the name Lucas for a boy
Yep.
and Aiden for a girl. Or sorry, Aiden for a boy. Aiden and Lucas for a boy, and I like the name Cassie for a girl.
As
So.
long as it's not like that one name that just popular now where that lady named her kid A, B, C, D, E. And then
No, I haven't heard of that.
yeah, she named her that, and then a guy got in trouble at the airport because he was kind of mocking her because the kid's name is literally A B C D E, but it's like Absidy is like what she's supposed to be called or whatever. So then that's been a whole controversy on like Twitter
Oh,
and stuff
that's
that I found out. So
funny.
that's really really great. But now you mentioned before, I mean, is there anyone before we wrap things up here? Is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to or any promos or anything that you would like to announce?
I'm running a free challenge. Again, I'm not sure when this will exactly be out, but I am running a free challenge starting on December 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
It's for any online coach, whether it's health, fitness, life, business, who wants to just get more clients. It's literally called Get More Clients Challenge.
Okay.
So you can go to getmoreclientschallenge.com and register there. We start on Monday the 3rd, December 3rd, goes till the 7th. And then on the 7th, I'm launching my group coaching program called Client Attraction University, which is going to start in January. But we're having early bird signups. And just the first week of December so that everyone can lock their spot in, go enjoy the holidays, to come back and really hit the ground running in January.
Absolutely. Well, I'll leave a link down below for all that for anyone that's
Sure.
interested. Absolutely. And lastly, if there's just any little piece of advice that you could have for just the average person on how to better their life, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give that person?
The best piece of advice is wake up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's probably boring and bland, but honestly, my morning routine, I did a post about this the other day, saves me every single day. And I don't know what I would do. Whether you wake up at 6 or whether you wake up at noon, it doesn't matter. Just wake up a little earlier than you normally would and have that hour to yourself, especially if you're listening and you have kids, have that time to yourself, even if it's half an hour earlier, just some time to fill your cup up, listen to a good podcast, have coffee slowly, and we're always in a rush. So if we can just slow down a little bit, the rest of our day can go so much more smoothly. So wake up a little early.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And again, Megan, it was so great having you on. Again, I'll leave all of her links down below. Everyone go give her a follow. I mean, it's so great to have someone who's just helping out others. And again, if you need any help with your life or if you need anything, go to her. Like I said, all of the links down below. Megan, again, I cannot thank you enough for coming on. You are an absolute great guest. And we wish you honestly nothing but the best of success in life. And we wish you nothing but the best in having a child. We'll definitely keep everyone posted in the progress of that maybe a year from now.
Thank
We'll see.
you.
But again, thank you so much for coming on. We really, really appreciate it. And this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the Spot, signing out. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank